Hi, everyone. My name is Sunny, and welcome to our podcast. I promote, I encourage, and coach people on spiritual transformations from a mind, body, and soul perspective. I'm going to be talking about a really important thing today, which is all about respect. Okay. And respect is something that we desire all the time. Doesn't matter that's in our childhood, in our college time, in our jobs, in our relationships, from our better half, from our partner, or it doesn't matter, be it during the old age as well. All right. What does it mean in today's world? So, what does respect mean in today's world? Which is a myth. And I'm going to clear that myth today. Okay. So, we believe in today's world that respect is something that you can achieve by earning a lot of money, by having a status, by buying a big house or a big car, or by dressing well, you know. Isn't it? That's what you think, right? You can gain respect for that. But honestly, respect is not that. These are all materialistic things. These are all physical things that we can see and we believe that can actually help us in getting respect. It's a total misconception. So really and truly what respect means is respecting yourself in all areas of your life. Okay? Be it physical, be it mental, be it emotional, be it financial. Okay? For ourselves. Not for others. Okay? But the only problem is we keep looking outside to get respect. I'll give you a couple of examples before I deep dive into how to spiritually change yourself to have that eternal self-respect for yourself, okay? One of my uncles, okay, he is a bit older right now, maybe in his early 70s. He's divorced, okay, and he does his business. I mean, he earns a lot. But he always keeps saying to my mother, right, nobody calls me, nobody's asking me nowadays, I feel lonely, and all that kind of stuff during his early 70s. Okay? And then what he does is, just to get distracted from all those kind of thoughts, he starts looking into different stuff, just to be focused on something or the other, so that he's not able to get those thoughts again and again. So what does it mean? It means that he is truly dependent upon others to give him respect, to call him, to acknowledge him, to ask him. That's okay, I'm not saying that's bad. But what if he's left alone in his home or in any given situation, any given scenario, wherein he's just sitting on his own? The most painful thing that's going to happen for him is that his thoughts would never leave him and will always suppress him. Why? Because he is dependent upon that respect from others. That's one example. Another example I will give you. I met a lady here, Irish lady, who was a bit older. I know her, like, she's an acquaintance. I will just say her hi or hello. And she's in her late 50s or so. She, she has a family and husband and kids, and, and she's well-to-do as well, like, financially. But the best part about this woman is, like, whenever somebody passes a comment or somebody, says something sarcastically, or whenever somebody is making a joke to her, she's always bang on in terms of she has some or the other response ready for that comment or joke or a sarcastic thing. Always. And when I, started sitting in that company with her family and other locals as well, when I used to go, to drink with them in that bar. And I was shocked. I was like, I was highly impressed with that. Why? Because I never saw a person like who was so clear about the responses that person needs to give on during those different scenarios. And the impression that I got was like, this woman is clear about her thoughts. She's got a lot of clarity. And whatever she says, bang on, that's spot on. Like, nobody can respond to that, or nobody can kind of like defend that, right? But when I started this journey of unconditional self-love, I realized one thing. When these kind of people who are ready with those responses all the time, there's one and only one emotional mental thing going on to them, wherein they always think that they have to respond to all the things in their lives. And they have to be precise about that. Why? Because that's gonna give them a control and an authority in that particular group, or in that location, or wherever that person sits. Okay? And authority and control always comes from the point of insecurity. And when we have insecurities in our life, it creates a lot of other things. Jealousy, comparison, looking down on people. So what are we losing there, right? So the point of me giving that example to my audience here is, what is the point of doing that? There is no point. Why? Because we are losing ourselves, our self-respect, and our soul. And what we believe is by saying or by responding like that, we'll be able to gain respect from others, because then people would come to know that I have an authority or a control over the things or the responses that person has all the time. Okay? So emotionally or spiritually, what it means? Spiritually, it means that probably that person was being controlled in his or her past, and probably that person would have seen some losses that person wasn't able to recover, emotional or relationship based losses, okay? Or financial losses could be, right? Or that person never got exposure towards certain other things in his or her life which would have made her maybe a little bit more, easygoing in terms of not to respond to everything, but to just kind of like, step back sometimes as well, and take a deep breath and ignore couple of stuff, right? But that's that. Okay. Now I'm going to talk about rich people. I've seen so many rich people, right, going to the bars. They're watching expensive clothes, expensive watches, expensive pair of shoes, and everybody is impressed by that, right? Because everybody knows that this person is a rich guy and he would be wearing all those kind of things. And then everybody else start losing their own respect to get a validation and to people please those kind of rich people, right? Just to make sure that, those rich people will remember them, right? And we disregard our self-respect. I'm not saying that introducing yourself or probably saying hi or hello is bad. I'm not saying that. I'm only saying when we overdo all those things. And majority of the people overdo all those things just because of the same fact they have insecurities and fears in terms of what their worth and what their respect mean to them. And those all things and these examples that I'm giving you, right, they all relate to how you have been born and brought up. What kind of limited belief system that you have gone through, right? And when we keep doing all those things again and again and again, then there is a point that comes in your life wherein you stop doing people pleasing, but you stop it with some kind of arrogance or hate or anger within yourself. And then you get, then people go, I don't want to do it anymore. I just hate doing it. Or I hate this, or I hate that. I just want to sit my own, and I just want to sit in my peace. This is not called as peace, by the way. Peace is something else. Okay, I can touch upon that in a different video whenever I get a chance, but peace is not like that. But coming back to self-respect. Self-respect, if you have that, then it remains eternal forever in your life, and you do not have to rely upon respecting or probably getting respect from outside or from anyone else. Simple. So, to begin that process of self-respect, okay, wherein if you got self-respect, then you're going to attract respect from outside automatically. That's what happened with me. I respect myself in my communication. I respect myself in my mental and emotional health. I respect myself in my clothing. I respect myself in my on my physical body. I go to the gym. I maintain myself physically. I respect myself in terms of doing a good job. I respect myself in terms of my growth. I respect myself in terms of my diet. I respect myself in terms of my discipline. That I will do my meditation, I will do my prayers, I will go to the gym, I'll go to my work, make these videos, keep improving myself in terms of my communication. I was born Indian, got educated in India, did my college in India. Half of my professional career was spent in India. So this is what I got in terms of my growth. So I respect myself in all those areas, and I do not worry about people giving me respect outside. Why? Because all these things are never going to go away from me. Money is tangible. I understand that. Money can bring you a temporary respect. But if, let's say, money is taken away from you, God forbid, You would have seen those kind of situations as well, maybe in your friend circle or in your community where, a person is going through some kind of financial hardship, right? That person is in stress, into an emotional trauma, or, going through a lot of problems in his life or her life, right? And that you will see that person looking for help from everyone. Majority of people try to help these kind of people, right? But would you like to get associated with that person during that time? But I'm not saying that everybody's the same, but normally what happens is people try to stay away, okay, from those situations, by not to get fully involved into those kind of situations, right? Why? Because of the reason that person is going through a lot of stress and he is looking for help and respect from people. Okay? If you got respect, you're gonna get some help anyways, right? This is just a normal example that I'm giving you, hypothetically. Right? So let's say if that person would have been respecting himself in all those areas, he would have definitely asked for help, but he wouldn't go through any kind of emotional or mental trauma during that time, because then he would know that he would have that courage to take further strong steps for his transformation, to get out of that situation. And, we see a lot of entrepreneurs and, people who become kind of like, billionaires and millionaires. So they have gone through this kind of journey as well, right? Wherein they will lose everything and then they'll be able to have, a comeback with a different thing, and they will be able to earn the same kind of money. For them, it's an easy game. Why? Because they know how to do it, because they have that self-respect. So they are not worried about that somebody else is going to give them self-respect. Oh, somebody else is going to give them respect, right? So again, self-respect is what? It's inside. What I say about spirituality is always inside out, and from inside, your physical reality is created outside. Okay? To every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. So what are the spiritual changes that we got to do? Okay. Financially, yes, we can learn a skill. We can try to grow in terms of doing something different. That's a different story. Physically, if you want to respect yourself, you start going for a walk, or maybe for a run, maybe to the gym, or, you're trying to be regular and you're making sure that you're disciplined there. Where we lack majority of the time for self-respect, and that is the most crucial and the critical thing that nobody pays attention to, and that's why there's lack of peace in everybody else, because we are always thinking that there is nobody around us, nobody there to give us respect. My parents are not giving me respect, my siblings are not giving me respect, my partner is not giving me respect, my friends are not giving me respect. That's what keep going, because we keep looking outside. That's a major problem. Spirituality talks about inwards, right? That's what I said before that. So in mental and emotional spiritual journey, we got to highlight all those incidents, all those situations from our past where we got that disrespect. Because all those incidents and all those situations really and truly created that kind of disrespect for ourselves within ourselves. Why? Because they became a trauma. They became an internal wound for us, right? They are a soul wound for us. The way I healed myself from there, in case if you're going through that, right? You look down on yourself, you judge yourself, you compare yourself, you are a people pleaser, you need validation, right? You have insecurities, you have fears. Start writing all those incidents. Start writing all those scenarios wherein you felt disrespected. Starting from your parents. I'll give you the best example from my life, okay? My parents, whenever they used to drop me at the school, and there were other kids as well, sitting in the car with me. And they used to always say one thing, to other kids. Sonny doesn't take a bath before he goes to school. Sonny doesn't do this. Sonny doesn't do that. Always looking down on me all the time. I had to heal from all those disrespects that I got from my parents. Then I started getting disrespect from other relatives of mine as well. Oh, he's a duffer in school. Oh, he cannot do anything in his life. Oh, all that kind of stuff. I went through that healing as well. Then my relationship. I went from the scratch of my wounds until 2 years ago. And I started clearing all those wounds emotionally. And it is a continuous process. It requires forgiveness, which is the biggest power. It requires acceptance of that situation. It requires acceptance and forgiveness for the past. Right? I was already doing those spiritual changes. I was never even aware about that I was doing spiritual changes. I was an atheist 2.5 years ago, 3 years ago. I never believed in spirituality at all. Although I'm not religious at all, but I'm still 80 to 90% spiritual, but I do my prayers I've got my gods, right? I pray to Jesus, I pray to Lord Ganesha, I pray to Waheguru, right? I pray to Mother Mary. Well, everybody is made of the same energy of peace and unconditional love. But anyways, went through all those kind of trauma healings, right? And I only chose the path of peace and unconditional love for myself. As I was doing my spiritual transformation anyways, and I wasn't even aware about that, as I was saying, that I was doing the intermittent fasting, which is very spiritual, scientifically, to stay fitter, to stay leaner and always healthy. And then I was doing my personal growth as well, professional growth, right? In terms of my career. So these are all spiritual. We are already a spiritual being. We are spiritual beings because we keep transforming ourselves, we keep growing ourselves. But where we stop growing is from the mental and emotional point of view. That's where we stop. Because the changes that happen after those mental, emotional, spiritual transformation, those changes are not visible instantly. There is no instant gratification. Okay? But when I had an emotional setback from a girl, whom I thought that, she's into me, and then I liked her as well, and I had feelings for her, and then she woke me up. Hey, knock, knock, Sonny, wake up. You gotta emotionally respect yourself, right? And that's where the journey started. That's where all the healing started from, And not only that, every day I talk to my mother, There's something or the other popping out all the time where I have to heal myself in terms of how I look towards her. Okay. And it's slowly healing, right? Healing is a gradual process. It never ends. Never ends. Then people started looking down on me in Ireland, right? This guy is a different color guy, and I've gone through racism as well, big time here. Everything, every disrespect, and they used to say, "Oh," and they will just straight away judge me. No, you're this or you're that. I'm not gonna get into that conversation because racism is something that I cannot stop, right? But I can only stay away from those kind of people. That's it. But this is the most important spiritual journey of emotionally and mentally healing yourself. And now at this stage, even if I'm sitting on my own, I know there is nobody around me. People fear about being lonely. And I love my loneliness. Not with hate, not with arrogance, not with competition, not with ego. But I have made myself as my best friend. Why? Because my best friend, that is me, the other side of Sunny, always gives me love, compassion, kindness, growth, courage, commitment, discipline. That's how my self-respect will never go away until I die. And the only reason I'm making this video is whosoever watches this will come to know what really self-respect means. And once you have that, as I keep saying in my videos, I govern my respect. It's in my hand. Nobody else can take it away now. There you go. I'm standing in front of you, talking about it now. Okay? So yeah, start looking into all those things in your life. And as I promote, encourage, and coach these spiritual aspects to transform yourself from mind, body, and soul perspective, I am sharing my contact details in the description column below. You can, in case if you want any guidance, any coaching from my end, you're more than welcome to contact me. Not only that, the gift that I got from the universe, from the God, from the Creator, whosoever you want to say, is the gift of meditation, which is based on true power of silence, called as dhyana in Sanskrit, which really supplemented me, or probably was the biggest tool to go through that journey. So again, I'm going to say that one thing. What you are is what you're going to get. This is Sunny, signing off. Take care.